Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. Hope you have a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to talk about, is there such thing as a good debt? Some of you probably thinking, what are you talking about? All debt is bad. And it gets confusing when you start your investing, let's say property investing, because there's a theory base where it's there's such thing as a good debt and a bad debt. So if you don't know what it is, from my point of view, a good debt, it's a debt that can generate more cash flow. You hear that term on property investing. So a simple format of an example anyway. So let's say you borrowed money to buy a property investment. You've got a deposit, but you've also generate a mortgage. Let's say the mortgage is $500,000 is the total amount, but every month the repayment, let's say $500 per week as an example. And then you got a tenant living in your property investment, and the tenant is paying roughly about $800 per month rental as an example. So that means you have a good debt because the repayment of $500 per month, but your income is $800 per month, so that means you get a positive cash flow of $300. So that is the example side of a good debt. A bad debt, on the other hand, on property investing style, it would be in, let's say, the same scenario. $500,000 is the mortgage, $500 a month is the mortgage repayment, but your income from the rental property is, let's say, $400 per month. So that would mean you're out of pocket roughly about $100 per month. So that is a bad debt because every month you have to find that extra $100 per month from somewhere else, with a good intention, on the other hand, that later on in the near future, whenever that would be, you will be selling the property and at a higher level. Let's say, fast forward 2, 3, 5 years in the future, so you sell the property at about, let's say, $800,000, minus all your expenses, you hopefully getting roughly about $300,000 profit. That's the simple formula that people use, the basic concept of it. So the concept of it, you lose money now, but later on, capital gain, you're bound to appreciate, capital gain, and then just because of appreciation on the area of the property, there's a lot of growth in that particular area, you get a capital gain, and that's how some people do their property investing. Now, I don't say one is wrong and the other one is right, but every single one of those have their own point of view. I'm looking at it as the debt concept of it. So in the beginning of my property journey, I do believe in using debt as a leverage. You buy a property, you can leverage it out, because let's say a $500,000 property, you can put 10% down. That would mean it would cost you $50,000 of your hard-earned sweat saving. Let's say you're gonna come up with that $50,000 somewhere else. That as an example. So after that, you get the mortgage. As an example anyway, because you're looking at a debt as a leverage, and the only downside about, well, actually not the only downside, but like in theory it looks good, it sounds good, because you're only putting 10% of your own money, and then the rest of them is actually on a mortgage, which is someone else's money, which is the term OPM, let's say, other people's money, whether you're getting it from a mortgage a broker or a lender or a bank, wherever it is, as long as it's not yours. That's in theory. So the good thing of it is you only need a small amount, 10%. Some of them is 5%. Some of them even more higher, depending when and where you actually purchasing the property. So yeah, that's the scenario that most people use. Now, fast forward where I am right now, after paying off a principal place of home in cash and one investment property in cash. Is there such thing as a good debt? Or is there such thing as a bad debt? Or is all debt is bad no matter how you look at it? Now look at it, yeah, everything is bad debt. Whether you want to twist it here and there, everything is a bad debt. A debt is a debt. When you have a debt, your obligation to fulfill that debt. So in a sense, you are the responsible owner of that debt. So life without a debt is much better. So, and I realize that now after I don't know how many years of property investing, and after all the, I guess, the blood, sweat and tears and my experience of buying and selling property, I'm like, a debt is a debt. There is no such thing as a good debt. Because hear me out here. When you're trying to utilize a certain strategy, let's say using this good debt strategy, you're borrowing a bucket load of cash, leveraging your deposit to borrow 90% of the purchase price of the property. Let's say even if it's on a good debt, the scenario of your mortgage repayment is 500 and your rental income is 800. What if tomorrow something happened? Something happened as in the tenant moved out. Something happened in the sense of you lost your job, or for whatever reason it's vacant for a long time. While that's vacant, you are the person that is in charge of the debt. So you have to actually make a payment on that debt. While it is, let's say if they vandalize the property, while it's on renovation, you are the person in charge of that debt. While, let's say if it's get burnt down, while it's getting repaired, you're in charge of that debt. So if you're lucky, you can do the repair within about 1 week, 1 or 2 weeks. And then if you're really lucky, then maybe you can get a tenant within less than a month. But what if you don't have a tenant month after month after month? So that means you have to be paying that $500 per month repayment, no matter if you like it or not. I mean, it's good when there's a tenant, because that way the tenant is paying you $800 and you're only paying $500 to the bank. That's great. But there's that little thing when you don't have a tenant. What would happen? What if you have to do a lot of repairs while there's no tenant? There's another problem. So yeah. So okay, and then that's pretty much you're running the risk. Now, that's you're leveraging debt. You're leveraging on a sense of, you know what? I'm expecting my tenant paying me this, and this is going to be positively good, and everything else is going to be great. Now, the other thing, what happens if, let's say, the tenant move out and there's a lot of repairs? All your cash flow that you have been paying, let's say, they're all gone because of the repairs. Because that really did happen to us. That really happened to me personally. And then from then on, I realized I'm leveraging too much. All of my $300 per month income all gone, disappeared, because I have to do the repairs on that particular property. There's no such thing as a good debt. Meanwhile, the bank's still receiving their payment every month. Now, versus right now. Now, I don't have, let's say, a debt on that particular property. Fast forward now where you don't have any payments. Let's say you put 100% of a deposit. You actually are putting, 100% on that property. You're buying it outright cash. No tenant, that's okay, because your expenses, let's say, it's only a few $1,000 instead of $1,000 every couple of weeks or something. If you don't have a tenant, and if you have enough emergency fund, then you're going to be okay. You're probably going to be okay for a long time. If you don't have a tenant for 1 year or 2 or 3, it's a lot less stressful compared to when you have a commitment, a payment that goes to somewhere else. I'm in that situation right now where our investment property, if we don't have a tenant, I'm okay with that. If we have a tenant, it's a bonus. You take care of my property, I'll let you stay for this amount of dollars figure, and everyone's gonna be happy. And I don't have to pay the mortgage because I don't have any mortgage on this property. So life is much more simpler when you pay in full. Now, if tomorrow it goes up in value, back to this same $500 example, let's say you're buying at $500,000 interest only repayment, and then tomorrow it become $800,000, so that means you're pocketing $300,000 as an example. Whereas if you buy it in cash, that $500,000, well, you're going to have $800,000 in cash back in your pocket. Versus the other way around as well. Let's say if tomorrow, this same scenario, $500,000 property, tomorrow for whatever reason, the market goes the other way around, now it's only worth $400,000. You still owe $100,000 to the bank. Versus the other way around, where it's like, hey, it's your own money. You made a loss, and you lost, let's say, $500,000 become $400,000. You don't owe anyone else. You don't have the stress. It's your lost money with no interest on it, in a sense. Whereas banks, I'm sure they're going to put down a lot of interest involved on if you lose a lot of money. So, which one is better off? Having the stress level, and then not only just lost that $100,000, the bank will bound to be chasing you for the other $100,000. So, whereas if you lose your own $100,000, let's say, well, you got no one else to blame except you. You're the one that made that decision to lose that $100,000. So is there such thing as a good debt? Not really. All debt is bad. Is there such thing as a bad debt? Yes, every single one of them is bad. So good debt, bad debt. My scenario, what I would rather have, no debt. No debt. No debt is better than having some debt. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Hopefully this gives you guys an understanding how the way I think anyway when it comes to debt. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.